Rachel, you are back. Here you are.
Oh God,
Back,
you're funny.
back to talk boxing a little bit. We got a big weekend. You know what? I want to go over some of your fighters too, if we can get a chance here too. And a couple of little things that are going on this weekend. But I did. You know what? I didn't get a chance
Just my
to ask
glasses.
last time. What did
Uh-huh.
you get? Okay. About the Joshua fight coming up. Joshua fighting Francis Ngannou. I didn't get a chance to ask you about that.
Yeah, I know.
Now
I'm looking forward to it.
that's out going to be out in Saudi. Are you going to be out there?
Only if Zizzo's on the card. So if Zizzo's on it, then yeah, I'll go. But I'm not sure that he's going to be on it. We'll probably get confirmation in the next couple of weeks, and then yeah, I'll be there if he's on the card. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, great. Oh,
So I'm
geez.
excited.
That's a big fight. Now, do you follow MMA at all or no?
No,
So just boxing.
not really. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
like MMA. I think it's too violent.
It's too violent.
Yeah, I think it's like too it's like barbaric. It's too brutal. I don't like it.
It's I just don't like it because of the wrestling and stuff. I just don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. But
Yeah.
what is your thoughts on it? Because I have my thoughts, but what do you think, and who do you think wins something like that?
The Joshua fight?
Joshua fight, yeah.
I don't know. Like I legitimately don't know because it's AJ's probably going to come in riding high off of his last win, right? So he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm back. AJ's back," which is what
Was that a
everyone
good
was
win?
saying.
Was that really a good win? It was average.
It was
You know,
all right. Yeah, it
Ronald
was all
wasn't
right.
great.
Yeah, but I think that because everyone's saying like immediately, Anthony Joshua's back as if he's, like he was lost for all those years and they've got him back because they saw a little spark or like a decent, a better looking AJ from the last couple of wins that he just had, like with Franklin and I forget the other guy he just fought before this last fight. So I think that the momentum of the feedback and everything that he had from this last fight is going to carry him into this fight. But then this kid, what's his name?
Francis
Ngannou. He's going to come in like he's feeling like $1 million right now because of what he did in his last fight, right? Because they all thought that he was going to lose and he was a pushover and all that. And clearly we know that because of the way that Tyson Fury showed up, like he just rolled out of bed and showed up, right? And that was about it. That's all he did.
That's what I want to ask you. In the video that I have with Kevin Iole, man, the people that came out of the woodworks saying, it's actually divided. MMA people say you're not giving him credit. The boxing people said Tyson didn't train.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a bit of both.
Let me ask you this. Did you think Francis looked good?
I thought he did. I mean, because he's an MMA, he's never had a fight before, right? He's never had a boxing fight before. So that was his boxing pro debut. Look at Conor McGregor against bloody Mayweather. Looked like crap. You know what I mean? So I think Francis is like, you know what? I've got a chance here to like really shock the world. And I think he did. I think he came in looking really good. His body looked great. He was, he did all that he needed to do and he knocked the guy down. He knocked Tyson Fury down, So I think that everybody just overlooked him and didn't take him seriously because he's from the MMA world and Fury included, like Fury more so than anybody else. And there's always going to be somebody that's going to stand out from the crowd and be a live wire and shock everyone, and that's what he did.
So at the end of the day, in this fight, who are you leaning towards?
I mean, I'm going to go towards Joshua, but it just depends. I think it just depends on his mental state, to be honest with you, because if he gets clipped early, I think he's going to just fold. He's just going to fold. He's going to shut down and fold, and that'll be the end of it. And Francis could maybe finish him off. But, I mean, I am leaning towards Joshua, but, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm excited to see it. I don't think it's like just a bum fight or anything like that. I'm quite excited, really.
I don't think it's a walk in the park for Joshua.
I don't either.
This is going to be a tough fight for him.
Yeah.
And I think you're right when you say mentally, because mentally he's been shaky, very shaky.
Yeah,
that scares me. That
scares me
me.
too.
When you're shaking against a guy who can punch like that, I don't know. That's pretty not the smartest thing to do.
I think that Joshua, what he needs to do is go back and look at when he fought Andy Ruiz, and he looked at Andy Ruiz like, oh, this little dumpling, like he's out of shape, he's flubby and
dumpling,
little cute little dumpling. But you know what I mean? And but when you have that mindset of like, I'm going to go fight this short,
dumpling.
flabby guy dumpling, right? Sorry if you're watching this, but and he didn't take him seriously because that's what he had in his mind. I'm going to go fight this dumpling, and it's like, you can't do that. Don't you ever do that again, because you lost, and you lost in an epic fashion on your debut in the United States, and you look like shit, so he can't do that with Francis, because Francis he's going to really train for this proper. He's already had a taste of what it's like to fight a boxer at such an elite level of, obviously, of Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury that we know didn't show up.
How big was Joshua England wise? How big is he over there? He's pretty big.
He's massive. He's massive. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't give him a stamp with his face on it.
I never heard of him until he won the Olympics. I never heard that much of him in the amateur level, but
me either.
And then he just came on, and I was like, wow, who's this guy Joshua?
Yeah.
Next thing he turned out to be heavyweight champ and got a body like a Greek god.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at him for eating chips on the couch.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it ticks all the boxes though, doesn't he? He won a gold medal for England, which of course that's, all the Brits are going to come out for that. He's good looking, he's tall, he's got that little bit of a bad boy, but he's got some swag, but then he can be a gentleman at the same time. Ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, I didn't realize how big he was. And then now, what is the difference between Joshua and Tyson Fury as far as, aren't they from the same area essentially?
No. Tyson Fury is from, I think, Morecambe, which is down by the seaside, I believe. And then which is the seaside is the coastal. Anthony Joshua is from London, so.
Okay, and is that but they're both from England.
They're both British, yeah.
Yeah, they're both British, yeah. Okay, that's why I thought, I said, man, they're so totally opposite from how they, the one guy's more of, it would be more like a middle class, lower class, meaning I think Tyson Fury is more of like a traveler. Like he seems like like he was in a trailer park, kind of for here in the United States.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua seemed like he had seems to have some sort of education and did very, very well for himself. But Tyson, he worked through it and he got to where he's at.
Yeah, I mean, Tyson Fury, he's a traveler, he's a gypsy, and that's just a fascinating, incredible culture, to be a part of anyway. And then, Anthony Joshua, I think he grew up in a housing estate, pretty much like me from when we were talking before. And I mean, he definitely no silver spoon, he's got a bit of a bad boy past, which I think was kind of what got him in the gym. And he's made good. He's doing really well for himself. They both are.
Either way, we have your friend and ours, Buddy McGirt, has a guy tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
Callum Smith fighting Artur Beterbiev. Now, the one caveat that came out this week, the other day, was he did not fail a drug test. However, there was abnormal findings in his drug test. That was Artur Beterbiev. Now, obviously, it's a touchy subject you got to be careful about. He did not fail. We're going to make that perfectly clear. However, at 38 years old, at 38 years old, your body's now producing more testosterone and HGH. Probably would send a red flag to me. And I don't know if you've thought about this or if you had any situations like this with any of your fighters going into this fight, because the fight's going on, either way, but that would bother me a little bit because you're 38 years old. At 38, you're going the other way. Believe me, I know. When I get home at night, I am fighting my remote control, trying to go to bed. Granted, they're probably the greatest athletes, going. They're in unbelievable shape. They train very hard. They probably eat very clean. Unlike me, they probably eat very clean and they're good, right? But what they're saying to you is, oh, magically my testosterone has gone up, unlike anybody else in the history. Now there are probably a few outliers that it can happen. But it's never happened before.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like having a pregnancy test and the line, you're not sure because the line is so faint. He's like, well, am I or aren't I? So I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he's been doing.
Have you ever been in that situation? Although never mind, marijuana was Izzo's.
No, James. Well, James. I mean, it's known, but James Toney got pumped. Yeah, when we fought John Ruiz, for
Nanodrol
vitamins.
But it was Nanodrol. I could tell you exactly what it was.
You're right, but now, other than that, nothing recently. No, and I mean, I would think that obviously they've all sat and had a conversation about it, and the Smith family, they're very close. They would have made sure that they whatever the explanation was satisfactory to the Smith team, right? Team Smith. So and Buddy and Eddie and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know what's going on. I mean, it seems like every other fight, someone's popping up with a dirty test.
And that brings me to
allegedly.
Allegedly, let's keep that out there. At that level, Callum Smith's one of his opponents was Canelo Alvarez. He had tested positive at some point, and he said he had taken meat from Mexico and all types of stuff. Let's be honest, okay? On this level, the majority of people are taking something. I know two that are like on a mid-level, and I know they're taking stuff.
Right.
So, at what point do you say, okay, you can take what you can to a minimum, but it's got to be at this level? Because at this point, everybody's doing it. You can't tell me they're not.
Right.
I mean, although we are in a sport where you do get hit and it's a little more violent, what about football? These guys are all, I mean, 6'6", 250.
Yeah.
What is your
getting hit running?
Yeah, but what is your stance on that? Because I mean, you've seen it, and you've seen people.
Yeah. You know what though? I don't understand. I mean, I guess maybe, when these guys get to a certain level, they do start to obviously have a decline. So, they need to keep it going, right? I mean, and these guys are the big money makers as well. But I mean, I just don't know how you can just sit there and go, okay, well, I'm going to eat donkey meat for this fight because I want to be, like I need my levels. I need my levels.
Was that what it was?
Right. But it's like, I don't know how you would. I don't know. I don't like it. It certainly gives you an advantage over your opponent, and I don't think that's right. Assuming your opponent doesn't do the same thing, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's pretty shitty.
I think a majority. It's kind of an even. There was a fight probably a decade ago, or I mean a little over a decade ago, and I knew that they were both, and it was a battle of the pharmacies,
right?
Because whoever had the best one won, and the best one knocked the guy out. They're both very, very successful fighters, but what I'm saying is, there's a line there of honor amongst thieves.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah,
and that brings us to this fight. And Callum, he's got the skills, he's got the power. I think he's moving up in weight. He's good at that. Beterbiev is a young 38, and I say that only because he's got 19 fights.
Right.
Might have had his extensive background as amateurs is different, but this is 19 fights, 19 knockouts. Not a single one has gone the distance.
Right.
So he's a young 38. I think Callum's been in a bunch of fights where
Callum's been in some big fights, and
just hard fights.
Yeah.
do you think that plays a factor in this, or do you think Callum being young, big, and strong, and not saying that Beterbiev is not, he is.
Right.
At 38, he is.
Right.
And if he has any extra stuff there, he might be very strong.
Yeah.
But do you see that? Where do you see, if you were Callum Smith's advantage as opposed to, because he'd be the underdog here. You know, what do you think Buddy's game plan would be in this situation?
Oh my God, I can only imagine. I mean, you know, look, Callum's young. He's so strong. I watch him train. He hits like a freaking mule. I mean, he's a strong guy, you know. I'm sure that he will be kind of leaning into the fact that he's young, strong, you know, faster, you know, whatever it's going to be for tomorrow. And just hoping that, you know, how do you pronounce his name? Beterbiev?
Beterbiev.
Yeah, Beterbiev. I mean, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know how he's going to look tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. You know, whatever he's been doing, is it still in his system now? When was the test taken? Is it still there now and it can be a factor for tomorrow? And Callum's coming in clean as a whistle. So Callum's going to have to really, you know, Buddy's going to step it up. I already know, because I know Buddy. So Buddy's really going to step it up with this kid tomorrow. Buddy's ready for sure.
I did reach out to him. I wanted to see if he could come on before the weigh-in or after the weigh-in, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. And of course, he's extremely busy right now. But the advantage, the stuff is probably still in it. He tested clean. He just tested clean.
So who did? Beterbiev?
Yes.
He tested clean when?
21st of December. The test that was abnormal was, or it wasn't abnormal. It was I forget what they call it, where it
was like a no.
There's something in there, but they don't know if it's naturally occurring in the body or it's something coming from outside of the body. It wasn't abnormal. It was I think they call it anormal or something like that. So there was, but it was a test. He was clean. Then it came back weird, and then it was clean. So obviously in that space,
right,
it was something. Either he got caught and someone messed it up and
they cleaned him up. Yeah,
they said, hey, you got to get off, and he got off. But that stuff is still there. There's stuff that you still have, those little metabolites are in. It's got to be. You can't tell me that all of a sudden, because I know athletes that are, you know, I'm like, man, this guy still is this good at this time,
right?
You know, and you always know. And I don't know, in England, was baseball big with you guys?
No, we don't do baseball in England. We do cricket.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know cricket, but
watch your mouth. Watch it.
That's okay. I don't like that sport. I know a guy from India who watches that. I said, how do you watch this? This is the craziest sport I've ever seen. But in baseball, they used to, when that steroid era happened, you could always tell when it would happen, because what happens is, and like the old school baseball, I'll take Ken Griffey Jr. was like one of my favorite baseball players. He was okay, then he went really good, and then when he fell off. That's a guy who's natural, because there's 1 year you just don't have it. That's it. It's natural. You don't go from hitting here to here, and then all of a sudden 50 home runs in 1 year.
Yeah.
There's definite, so you don't get better as you age. You know, in boxing, it goes reverse.
It does. Well, then, you know what? Look, I mean, you know, I actually am, I'm on HRT, so I have testosterone and estrogen, and I get pellets, and my pellets, depending on how active I am, they will run down. It's crazy, you know, but I need them to be able to function. So if he's done something like that, combined with his training, he's going to burn through all of that anyway. So I would imagine then tomorrow, if he did something and someone was like, hey, look, your test came back a bit wobbly, either, you know, we're not sure, but we're going to clean you up. Then tomorrow it's going to show up natural. So then it should be pretty much an even playing field then, no?
They say, I don't know. You could never be 100%. Medicine is so advanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Look at it. That's why anytime you see Victor Conte with somebody, your eyebrow goes up, like, oh,
yeah,
what's going on here? Because he's so good at it. He's so good at it. Whatever he's doing, and he could be totally legal now.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on there is something strange, because he's so good at it. And man, he did, you know, like he's always a step ahead.
Right. I mean, I'm surprised that that VADA and all of them haven't made this guy go and answer for himself. Like, why is this test not even reading? But why isn't it reading? Like, he should have answered for that.
Margaret Goodman has said it was good. I mean, I was watching a show that they said it wasn't anything but then they wouldn't say that if there was nothing absolutely. You can't.
Exactly.
It can't be like this. It can't.
Yeah,
there's no way.
It can't. Exactly.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something goofy going on. There's something going on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will that outcome? What do you think that would would you think that would affect the outcome? Let me say, only because you're looking at two fighters. If you just take the two fighters, put them on two fighters on paper, then put them in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
The outcome of the fight will it differ much than what you're thinking?
If it's still in his system, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's gonna have the advantage if he's still got something going on in his system. Because God, it's hard to answer because I have to be careful. But I mean, I think if he's got something going on, then he's definitely going to be the stronger guy, right? I mean, that's just what it is. Mm. So Callum's going to have to be, try to psychologically, because he's rushing now. Callum's rushing like, oh shit, like there's a spanner in the works. So Callum's going to have to really ramp everything up that he's thinking, listening to Buddy, what Buddy's game plan is all got to go and change now, because you got to go in with the assumption that this guy's got something going on. Mm-hmm. You can't not, right? Yeah. So you got to be you've got to be prepared for it. So I mean, it would be nice if they were both, if they were both clean, if they were, if everything was good. And there's clearly something going on. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been reported to the press. Eddie wouldn't be talking about it. You know what I mean? So mm-hmm. it's something that's big enough for there to have been this open discussion with lawyers and teams and coaches and commissions and all this kind of stuff. So there's something going on. Maybe they're not telling us everything. We don't know, right? But I mean, Callum, it's all on Callum. You know what I mean? I just think it's all on Callum to really. He's going to really have to dig deep tomorrow and pull it off, and let's just hope that he can. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, it's just going to be interesting. We'll have to wait and see.
I think Callum Beterbiev starts a little bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
I think Callum has got to get on him, but not rush in.
Right? Yeah.
Do not rush in with that guy, because Joe Smith fought him, rushed in, thought he could knock him out, and he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And Joe Smith's a good fighter. Joe Smith's a very good fighter. So I think he'd have to use his advantage, his size to his advantage. He's got a great jab, stay behind that good hook to the body, back up to the heat. He does that very well.
Yeah.
And if he can get off early, he has a chance.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. If Beterbiev is just that strong and gets him
right.
out.
Right. I mean, right. Well, but again, though, I mean, that's the thing. Is he? It's almost like who was your man? Margarito, remember when he had loaded gloves when he fought Shane Mosley, but he had fought Paul Williams. Did Paul win? I can't remember now. Did Paul win against Margarito?
Paul Williams won that.
He won that fight, right?
He had a split decision. Yep.
Right. Okay. But so you would have to.
He was beat up.
Exactly. Right. But the thing about it is, it's like, okay, so now we know that, because I was at the Mosley Margarito at the Staples Center, but so I was there when it all went down. But so you have to look at the fight that they had before. Like, was Margarito's gloves loaded when he fought Paul Williams? And if they were, then Paul Williams is freaking superhuman. Like, oh my God, right? And the same is going to be for tomorrow. If Beterbiev wins, then is he or isn't he? Or if Callum wins, then Callum's going to be the man.
That's a good point. I never thought of that. Of that. Because what now? Because that's a great analogy. If all of a sudden you have the kryptonite, Margarito's kryptonite was his gloves.
Yeah.
If the kryptonite was caught here early enough, where holy cow, I'm off. There's going to be a lot. If he loses, if Beterbiev loses, a lot of question marks now. A lot of question marks come up.
Yeah.
And the stock of Callum goes a lot higher.
Way up. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and look, I mean, at the end of the day, this is always going to be an asterisk on Beterbiev's name anyway now, right? This fight will have an asterisk next to it forever. Because of this whatever's going on. But yeah, I mean, if he whether he wins or he loses, people are still going to they're going to ask questions. Oh, well, he's old and he's declined, and maybe his amateur career has caught up with his professional career, his body, blah blah blah. And then Callum Smith goes through the freaking roof,
right?
Yeah,
that would be very good for Callum. And then the winner obviously would fight Bivol to unify those titles and get that division cleaned up.
That'd be brilliant, man. I mean, that'd be a really good fight,